please tell me about yourself? Like how much experience do you have?
So I have almost 3 years of experience in Java development, including microservices and monolithic applications with legacy Spring and uh, EJB and JSF frameworks.
Okay.
And along with this, I have backend experience. I mean, I have worked on SQL and NoSQL databases, and some experience on front end development as well.
Okay, that's great. So as you were saying, you have worked on legacy Spring and Spring Boot as well, right? So
Yeah.
could you please tell me what's the difference between Spring and Spring Boot? I mean, why you guys are moving to Spring Boot from Spring?
Yeah, so actually in Spring Boot, it is very easy to configure any service or application. So it enables auto configuration. That means I don't have to, like, if you say Spring MVC, right? So we have to manually configure dispatcher servlet, or we have to manually configure the views resolver. We have to write a lot of beans in the configuration XML or in the annotation based configuration. But many of the things Spring Boot automatically does it. So for example, I have not seen in my recent project, we are using MongoDB, but I
Okay.
have not seen any MongoDB related bean created in the configuration file. And
Hmm.
also along with this, let me recall any other mm, difference. So yeah, the other difference is adding the dependencies. So in pom.xml also, like if we add a starter dependency like
Hmm.
Spring web dependency, so internally it will include all the web related dependencies which the Spring provides. But in the legacy application, we have to include like all the dependencies manually, like 4 to 5 dependencies, like all the dependency in Spring Boot, it will automatically take care.
Okay. So in Spring Boot, with Spring Boot, which server are you using?
So in Spring Boot, so actually in locally we are using embedded Tomcat only, but
Okay.
I mean our application will run in production and higher environments. It is running in cloud, in Azure cloud.
Okay, that's great. So, as you're saying in the Tomcat you're working on, so is it possible, like, if I want to move to any other application server like JBoss or Red Hat, is it possible to do that with the Spring Boot?
Yeah, it is possible. So Spring, once we like build the application using Maven clean build, it will generate a jar or a var file, and that particular var we can deploy inside Tomcat or a JBoss server.
Okay. So, okay. So how are you monitoring your application? So are you using any tool, or how you are checking the production thing? Like, is it working fine or something? So, yeah.
Yeah, so we have a Spring Boot admin console, in
Okay.
which we have it's like all the actuators we have enabled
Hmm.
from the properties file, and
Hmm.
like we have like a hell lot of actuators, like to monitor the binders. I am by my binders, I mean the Kafka related topics, let's suppose a service is listening to 5 topics. So
Hmm.
all those 5 topics, if we can manually start and stop, or we can check the health and all, like if it is up or not. So this way we are doing the monitoring things.
Okay. So what all HTTP methods, I mean the REST methods, are you using in your project?
So we are using only get, post, put, and delete. We are not using patch in anywhere in our project.
Okay. So do you know what exactly is patch? I mean, did you ever got a chance to?
Yeah, so patch is a combination of put and post, is
Okay.
what I have come across. But I have not manually I'm not implemented anywhere on my own this patch
Okay.
method.
Okay. Okay. So have you worked on Java 8? I mean, are you working
Yes,
on
I
Java
worked
8?
on Java 8. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the new features of Java 8?
Yeah, so the new features of Java 8 are functional programming they have introduced this time,
Hmm.
which can be achieved by using Lambda expression. Then they have Streams API they have given
Hmm.
to to process and manipulate collections easily.
Hmm.
Then they have given some date time API improvements. Then there is optional class,
Hmm.
which is an advantage over null pointer exception. Then then they have given some built-in functions like supplier consumer
Hmm.
function. Yeah, uh,
Okay.
yeah, that's all.
So you mentioned about Streams API, right? So do you know what
Yeah.
is parallel stream? I mean, stream is there. There is something called parallel stream. So do you know what exactly is the difference between them, stream and parallel stream?
Yeah, so yeah, parallel stream is like it is asynchronous in nature, and
Okay.
the output is not, yeah, guaranteed in parallel stream.
Okay.
So the
Yeah.
sequence is not guaranteed. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Actually, it will be like stream uses the. I mean, if we see inside, the parallel stream will use the maximum number of cores of your CPU. Okay.
Yeah, so maybe internally it is implementing a executor framework or something like that. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I mean by asynchronous.
Okay.
Parallelly,
So
many threads will be. Yeah, yeah.
So in Stream API, there is something called intermediate operations or intermediate operations. Do you know what exactly is that? And what are
Yeah,
those
so
intermediate?
yeah, so intermediate operation is basically an operation which we perform on stream, which will
Hmm.
not result a final object, but it will result a stream object itself. So let's suppose I am calling, I have a array list,
Hmm.
which I am calling like a dot stream. I will call, then it will convert that array list into a stream. Then on top of that, I can call like filter or map method.
Hmm.
So unless I don't call something called as collectors or something like an ternary operation, it will still result me the stream only. So to get again back a collection out of it, we have to eventually call something like collector. So the example which I have given, right, filter or
Hmm.
map method, these are called intermediate operations. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So do you know what is the difference between map and flat map, as you were mentioning about the filter and map? So what is the difference between them?
Yeah, so yeah, so map is basically, map is used to perform some operation on the stream, on the collection which we are trying to convert as a stream. So let's suppose I am trying to add like five to each of the array list objects. So that I can do by using this map method. I can
Okay.
write a lambda expression inside it. And the
Hmm.
flat map, what it will do is it will flatten the map. So let's suppose I have a relation like one student is having multiple subjects, so
Okay.
that it will do flattening also. So it will not result a list of list, it will return a final list.
Okay. Okay. So have you ever created any default method in the functional interface?
I have not created any default method, but I know how, what exactly are default methods and how it is implemented.
So what exactly is default method?
Yeah, so default method is a utility which is being provided by Java 8, by
Hmm.
using which we can implement a method with the default behavior in an interface. So
Hmm.
what it will do is, let's suppose I have an interface which has been in use in the project from a long time, and like let's suppose 100 classes are implementing it, and
Hmm.
I need that particular behavior in only 5 of the classes. So I don't want to break the remaining 95 classes. So in order to prevent them from breaking the implementation of this interface, I can write a default logic in the
Okay.
interface itself. And another advantage of this is I don't have to implement this particular method in all those 95 classes. I can straight away write the default implementation in this, the interface, so it will like yeah, it will take care.
So do you know what is transient keyword?
Yes, transient keyword is used in serialization. So let's
Okay.
suppose I am trying to serialize a Pojo class or an or
Hmm.
any entity bean, and
Hmm.
in that class I don't want a particular attribute to perform in the serialization. So that I can define it as transient. So
Okay.
what will happen is when we try to deserialize it, we will not get that actual value which was present before the serialization. We will get the default value.
Okay. Okay. Nice. So do you know what is externalization interface?
Yeah, so serialization, if we call serialization using that, like all the attributes will be serialized
Hmm.
except the one which we declare as transient. But in
Okay.
externalization we get this option to do the serialization per attribute wise.
Okay. So what are the methods which are present in externalization? Do you know?
I have not implemented anywhere externalization, but a serialization I can tell write object and read object are there in
Okay.
serialization.
In externalization, we have read external, write external. Okay, not an issue. So how will you find out even number from a list by using the Java 8?
Yeah, so by using Java 8, what we can do is we can convert that array list into a stream,
Hmm.
and then from that stream we will call filter method. There we
Okay.
will apply the lambda expression
Hmm.
that each element mod to equal to zero. Whatever we will then map it into a new collection object.
Okay.
So
So
it will return all the.
did you ever get a chance to look into filter method? What exactly is happening in the filter method?
So filter method is basically taking a lambda expression and it returns a boolean expression. So
Okay.
if it satisfies the condition, yeah, it will return true,
Hmm.
whatever lambda we are giving. So we
Hmm.
have to basically provide a boolean condition in the filter, not any lambda expression. We have to provide a boolean condition only.
Okay.
So based
Okay.
on that, it will return true or false.
Okay. So in actually inside the filter, you will be using the predicate functional interface, which will always return you the Boolean. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I could not recall this predicate.
No
Yeah,
issues,
yeah,
no
yeah.
issues. Okay. So are you working on the DevOps as well, or like how it is?
Yeah, so DevOps side, basically, I have worked on this Kubernetes
Hmm.
monitoring the all the services, pods, and
Hmm.
scaling up, scaling down, and then analyzing the logs inside Kubernetes. Along with that, for DevOps continuous integration, actually, we are using Argo
Okay.
tool. So
Hmm.
so inside that pipeline is already created using script that. Once any commit is done, so it will do the Maven clean build, then it will dockerize the image and then it will deploy the
Okay.
service.
Yeah.
So that everything is yeah, a part of the configuration inside the repository
Hmm.
of GitHub, and there we have like included this pipeline. Yeah.
So do you have any Sonar stage in your pipeline?
Currently, no. Currently, we don't have, because our project is implemented from scratch and it is a pretty huge project.
Hmm.
We have like more than 20 microservices,
Hmm.
and we are still in the development phase. We haven't have any single release till now.
Hmm.
So yeah, once we have a single release, then the first release. After that, they are planning to implement Sonar. But I have implemented Sonar in my previous projects.
Okay. Okay. So are you guys working on Agile?
Yes, we are pretty much working on Agile.
Okay. So how long is your sprint? I mean, it's a 2 week sprint or it's a 3 week sprint? How it exactly it is?
Yeah, so each sprint is comprises of 2 weeks,
Hmm.
and a release is followed by like a couple of sprints, like maybe 4 sprint or 8 sprint, and on top of that we have some minor releases also, which are like part of some bug fixes, which has to
Okay.
be like, which are like blocker or like major issues in the production. For that we are undertaking like so every month we are having a one production release at least.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. So Puneet, that's it from my end. And do you have any questions to ask?
Like how many further rounds of interview can I expect? Do you have any idea?
This was the first round. So after that, maybe two more round will be there. One will be the lead with my lead, and the other will be the techno managerial round.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.